Test number 2, section 4, calculator part. Question number 1. A musician has a new song available for downloading or streaming. The musician earns $0.09 each time the song is downloaded and $0.002 each time the song is downloaded and streamed. Which of the following expressions represents the amount in dollars that the musician earns if the song is downloaded d times and streamed s times? So the rate of downloaded is $0.09 plus the slope or the rate of stream is $0.002, and if two of them are added, it gives you the total function, which will be option C. Question number 2. A quality control manager at a factory selects 7 light bulbs at a random for inspection out of every 400 light bulbs produced. At this rate, how many light bulbs will be inspected if the factory produces 20,000 light bulbs? We were given ratio at the previous part of the question. 7 light bulbs out of 400 light bulbs. So 7 light bulbs picked up randomly for inspection out of 400 light bulbs. So this is our ratio. Either you can find the ratio here and multiply it by 20,000 to be able to find how many light bulbs will be inspected out of 20,000, or you set the ratio 7 out of 400 equals to x over 20,000 and you cross multiply. So 20,000 times 7 equals to 400 times x. Divide both sides on 400. That will give you, if you use your calculator, you're going to obtain 350. Or you can obtain the ratio here, which is 4 divided by 400, and you obtain the ratio here and multiply it by 20,000. So you can obtain how many light bulbs will be inspected, which is 350. So either way, you get the same answer. You set the ratio and then set the proportion. Question number 3. One end of a spring is attached to a ceiling. When an object of mass m kilogram is attached to the other end of the spring stretches to a length of L centimeters, as shown in the equation above here. What is m when L is 73? So we need to substitute whatever is given. When L is 73, our original equation is L equals to 24 plus 3.5 m. When L is 73, which means we need to substitute this, what is m? Then we're going to solve for m. So first step is to subtract 24 on both sides. So we're going to obtain here 49. And if we divide both sides on 3.5, m will be 49 divided by 3.5. We're going to obtain 14. So the answer is 14. Question number 4. The amount of money a performer earns is directly proportional to the number of people attending the performance. The performer earns $120 at the performance where 8 people attended. How much money will the performer earn when 20 people attend a performance? So this question is the same question as number 2. You can either find the ratio and multiply by this number, or you can set the proportion. We know that 8 people attended, we make $120. So 20 people attended, how much money do we make? This is one way to set the proportion. Another way is $120 divided by 8 gives you the ticket money of one person. And then whatever number you find here, you multiply by 20 people and you get the answer. So either way you get the same answer. I'm going to do cross multiplication now. So 8x equals to 120 times 20. If we divide both sides by 8, we're going to obtain 120 divided by 8 times 20, so same answer. Let's use the calculator. 120 divided by 8 is 15, and 15 times 20 is 300. So $300 they make. And we obtain here 15, and 15 times 20 is 300. So you're going to first find the ratio and multiply by the third number or set the proportion. Question number 5. The performer uses 43% of the money earned to pay the cost involved in putting on each performance. The rest of the money earned is performer's profit. What is the profit the performer makes at a performance where 8 people attend? So when 8 people attend, the performer was making $120, that we knew it from the previous question. And 43% of this money is the cost. 43%, which means 57% is the profit. And we're going to calculate the profit. So we need to know 57% of this number. 57% of that number is 120 times 0.57, which is going to be 120 times 0.57 is going to be 68.4. 68.4, $68.40, answer C. Question number 6. When 4 times the number x is added to 12, the result is 8. What number results when 2 times x is added to 7? In the first part of the question, we're going to solve for x, and in the second part, we're going to plug it in. So 4 times the number, 4 times x, we don't know the number, is added to 12 plus 12, and the result is 8. So this is the first part of the equation. What number results when 2 times x? So what number results when 2 times x is added to 7? Is what number? So let's call it another variable, y. So let's solve for x here. So subtract 12 on both sides. 4x equals to negative 4. Divide by 4. Then you're going to obtain negative 1. And if x is negative 1, we're going to plug it in here. 2 times negative 1 plus 7 will be y. Negative 2 plus 7 is 5. So y is 5. Question number 7. The equation above represents a parabola in the xy plane. Which of the following equivalent forms of the equation displays the x-intercepts of the parabola as constants or coefficients? Since this is a calculator part, you can directly graph this in your graphing calculator, or you can factor that trinomial using the techniques you know. So the template is x. Now we're going to find some numbers here and here. Our c term is 8. We're going to disintegrate c term into prime factors. What two numbers multiply c term? 1 times 8 and 2 times 4. And we're going to pick up one of these pairs. Either 1 and 8 will come here, or 2 and 4 will come here. So our second check is, if we add them up, we need to obtain the middle term, which is -6. So only 2 and 4 gives me -6 if I use -2 and -4. And if I multiply -2 times -4, I obtain C term. So this checks for both. It gives me C term when I multiply, and it gives me B term when I add them up. So multiply to obtain C term, add them up to obtain B term. So -2 and -4 are the correct pair. -4. So this trinomial turned into y equals to x minus 2 times x minus 4. This is the answer. And x-intercepts are here. X minus 2 equals to 0 and x minus 4 equals to 0. Here x is sold as 2, add 2 on both sides. And x is 4, add 4 on both sides. Or if you graph it in your graphing calculator, you're going to see that the x-intercepts are 2 and 4, which confirms this. Question number 8. In a video game, each player starts the game with k points and loses 2 points each time a task is not completed. If a player who gains no additional points and fails to complete 100 tasks has a score of 200 points, what's the value of k? Here we have some basic function. We start the game with k points, and k minus the points lost, let me say, equals to final score. We were given that our final score is 200 already, and points lost is each fail times 2. So each mistake times 2 will be the points we are losing, and we made 100 mistakes, 100 fails. So we lost 200 points. So k minus 200 points will be equal to 200. If you add 200 on both sides, k will be 400. So you start the game with 400 points, you make 100 mistakes, times 2 points, -2 points, you lose 200 points, and you obtain 200. Question number 9. A worker uses a forklift to move boxes that weigh either 40 pounds or 65 pounds each. Let x be the number of 40-pound boxes. So let x be the 40-pound boxes, and let y be the number of 65-pound boxes. The forklift can carry up to either 45 boxes or weight of 2,400 pounds. Which of the following systems of inequalities represents this relationship? Whenever you hear the word up to, it is less than or equal to, because you can carry up to that, but you cannot exceed that. So we know that our inequality is maximum carrying 2,400 pounds, and the number of x-type and y-type boxes are 45. So this is our systems of inequalities, which is, let's see, check it carefully, check the signs, check the numbers carefully. No, this is not correct. Yeah, check everything carefully. It's gonna be 40x plus 65y is less than or equal to 2,400 x plus y. It's A. So even if you make it correctly, and if you don't check correctly, you might make mistake. Question number 10. A function f satisfies f of 2 equals to 3 and f of 3 equals to 5. A function g satisfies g of 3 equals to 2 and g of 5 equals to 6. What's the value of f of g of 3? So this is a composite function. We have to start from the innermost. G of 3, as we were given, is equal to 2. Now we have f of 2. F of 2 is equal to 3. So the answer is B. Question number 11. Tony is planning to read a novel. The table above shows information about the novel. Tony's reading speed, the amount of time he plans to spend reading the novel each day. If Tony reads at the rates given in the table, which of the following is closest to the number of days it would take Tony to read the entire novel? So let's observe the table. We were given his entire plan. He would like to read 3 hours a day. So he is reading 3 hours a day. The number of the parts of the novel, irrelevant. Chapters, irrelevant. Okay, words per minute. This is good to know. Pages, irrelevant here. And the number of the words, this is good. Now we are going to convert everything into words. So time equivalence of words. We know that he reads 250 words per minute. Given here. And we know that he reads 3 hours a day. Which means 3 hours, we have to convert this into minute to be on the same page. So 3 hours is 180 minutes. Or you can multiply 3 times 60. Then you're gonna obtain 180 minutes. So he reads 180 minutes a day. And in 180 minutes times 250, he reads, if you multiply that using your calculator, you're going to obtain 45,000. Now we converted time equivalence of words. So in 1 day reading, he reads 45,000 words. And entire novel has 349,168 divided by 45,000 will give us day equivalence of. This time we're going to find the time equivalence. So let's do the division using the calculator. 349,168 divided by 45,000. So 7.75 days. 7.75 days. Which means we need 7 full days and we need another day to complete the novel. So for the entire novel we need 8 days. 7 days will not be completing the novel because we have some extra piece. So we need 8 full days. Question number 12. On January the 1st, 2000, there were 175,000 tons of trash in a landfill that had a capacity of 325,000 tons. Each year since then, the amount of trash in the landfill increased by 7,500 tons. So this is going to be our slope because increased by that number every year. If Y represents the time in years after January the 1st, 2000, which of the following inequalities describes the set of years where the landfill is at or above the capacity? So we're going to construct the inequality, linear inequality. So we need to know like x and y, as in y equals to mx plus b. We need to know our slope. We need to know our start point. We need to know our variable. Our variable here is y, already given. Variable is time. Our slope is, we know that 7,500 y. and our initial is this because there were this much tons of trash once we started. So plus 175k, and we know that the capacity is this, so the landfill can take this much, not more than that. So less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, the capacity, 325,000. We use greater than or equal to because we're calculating the yielding point, like landfill is equal to or above the capacity. So this amount will be above or at the capacity. Question number 13. A researcher conducted a survey to determine whether people in a certain large town prefer watching sports on television to attending the sporting event. The researcher asked 117 people who visited a local restaurant on a Saturday, and 7 people refused to respond. Which of the following factors makes it least likely that a reliable conclusion can be drawn about the sports watching preferences of all people in town? So this is a survey conducted. Sample size here is not a problem because he picked 117 people who visited local restaurant, and sample size can be generalized to the universe here, to the whole population. And 7 people refused, so getting refusal is good and okay because you cannot force people to answer survey, which makes it more objective. So people who are willing to do survey will make it more objective. So that doesn't make it less reliable. Actually, it makes it more reliable. So this is not the answer. Sample size is not the answer because any good sampling can always be generalized to the population. Population size is never a problem because any population size can be surveyed. So either small or big population size can be used for any survey. Here the problem is where the survey was given. Survey is given at a local restaurant, people who visited local restaurant. So in survey you have to pick people randomly. If you don't pick people randomly, this is the keyword, then the survey is like less reliable. For example, let's say you're making a survey in your school about school cafeteria, the prices or quality of the food, and let's say you're going to class 11A only, and you do survey on 11A, and you generalize to the whole school. So this is less reliable. Instead, you could wait in front of the cafeteria and pick randomly every 5th people, or every 7th people. Or you go to school garden and pick people randomly. Then it would be more reliable, instead of going to some special class or some special group. So here, where the survey was given is the problem. So that's the answer. Sample size is not a problem. Population size is not a problem. People can refuse your survey. That makes it more reliable. Then the answer is D. Question number 14. According to the line of the best fit in the scatter plot above, which of the following best approximates the year in which the number of miles traveled by air passengers in country X was estimated to be 550 billion? So we're looking for 550 billion, which is here, which belongs to this point. And now we're going to find the X projection of this number, because that's the best approximation of the line of best fit. So it's going to be somewhere here. And we know that this point is a year between 2000 and 2005, because if you divide 2000 and 2010 equally, this is going to be 2005. So we're looking for a number between 2000 and 2005, which is C. Question number 15. The distance traveled by Earth is one orbit around the Sun is about 580 million miles. Earth makes one complete orbit around the Sun in 1 year. Of the following, which is closest to the average speed of Earth in miles per hour as it orbits the Sun? Here we're going to divide 580 million miles. This 0 is not there, by the 1 year, 1 Earth year. So we can find the average speed of the Earth in miles per hour. We're going to convert 1 year into hour to be able to find hourly average speed. We know that 1 year is 365.4 days. You can also take it 365 or 366 because the answers are not so close to each other. And 1 day is 24 hours, so if I multiply the number of the day by the number of hour in a day, I convert 1 whole year into hour. So it's going to be, let's go to calculator, 365.4 times 24 is 8,769.6. Now I'm going to divide 580 million, 1, 2, 3, I think 1 0 is extra. Yes, divided by 8,769.6, we're going to obtain 66,000 roughly. So that's the answer. Question number 16. The table above summarizes the result of 200 law school graduates who took the bar exam. If one of the surveyed graduates who passed the bar exam is chosen at random for an interview, what's the probability that the person chosen did not take the review course? So our whole group is the people who passed the bar exam. So the number of people who passed the bar exam will be our denominator. So 18 plus 7. And out of the people who passed the bar exam, we're calculating the probability of people who did not take the review course, which is who did not take the review course here. So 7 out of 25. Question number 17. The atomic weight of an unknown element in atomic mass units is approximately 20% less than that of calcium. The atomic weight of calcium is 40 AMU. Which of the following best approximates the atomic weight in AMU of the unknown element? We know that unknown element is 20% less than the calcium. So anything 20% less means it is 80%. So if I multiply this number by 80%, I get the correct answer. So it's going to be 32. 4 times 8 is 32. If you can't tell this directly, you can do like this. 40 times 20%, you obtain 8. So it's going to be 8 AMU less than calcium. So 40 minus 8 is 32. Or you can think like this. If you get 30% off from any 30% off or 30% discount from any item, it means you're paying 70%. So you're not paying 30% means you're paying 70%. And if you multiply by 70%, you directly calculate the money you are paying. So you don't have to go 2 steps. Question number 18. A survey was taken of the value of homes in a county, and it was found that the mean home values was $165,000 and the median home value was $125,000. Which of the following situations could explain the difference between the mean and median home values in the country? Before we go to the options, I would like to review 3 different situations. Situation 1 is where mean and median is the same. If we have mean and median the same number, we have symmetric distribution, like as in the normal distribution. Left and right is symmetric. And the second situation, if we have mean less than median, so let's say this is median and let's say this is mean, then it's going to be something like this. So this means we have a few values that are less than the rest. And the third situation is we have median here, and let's say we have mean greater than median, then it means that we have large outliers. That means there are few homes that are valued much more than the rest. So these 2 situations are exactly the opposite of each other. Here we have a few houses that value less than the rest, a few houses value more than the rest. Small outliers, large outliers. So here what is described is we have mean, which we have median 165,000 and we have mean 125,000. So here our mean is less than our median, which is here. So we know that there are few homes that are valued much more than the rest. Fucked up this question. Question number 18. A survey was taken of the value of homes in a county, and it was found that the mean home value was $165,000 and the median home value was $125,000. Which of the following situations could explain the difference between the mean and median home values in the county? Before we go to the options, I would like to review 3 different situations. Case 1, where median and mean are the same. Case 2, median is less than mean, and case 3 is the opposite. If we have median and mean same value, we're going to have this symmetric distribution, as in the normal distribution. If we have, let's say this is median, and we have mean greater than median, so we're going to have something like this. So this means we have larger outliers. And if the median is here and mean is here, then that means we have smaller outliers. What does this mean? If we have larger outliers, it means that there are few homes that are valued much more than the rest. And if it is smaller outliers, it means that there are a few homes that valued less than the rest. So our situation here is our mean is greater than our median, because mean is given as 165,000 and our median is given as 125,000. So it depicts the picture, this picture. So we have larger outliers, which means there are few homes that are valued much more than the rest. Question number 19. A sociologist chose 300 students at a random from each of 2 schools and asked each student how many siblings he or she has. The results are shown in the table below. There are a total of 2,400 students at Lincoln School and 3,300 students at Washington School. What's the median number of siblings for all the students surveyed? So all the students surveyed are 300 students. So 300 students here, if you add them up, and 300 students here, if you add them up. And out of 600 students, what is the median number of siblings? If you list them out, students who has 0 siblings, 0, 0, 0, 0, so we have 120 numbers here, plus 140 numbers there. Because 120 plus 140 people has 0 siblings. So we can directly write that number 260. So we know that 260 people have 0 siblings. Let's continue listing that out. And let's go to the number of people who has 1 siblings. Here we have 80 plus 110, 190 people listed here. And if we continue writing out people who has 2 siblings is 90 people, and 40 people has 3 siblings, and 20 people has 4 siblings. Median is the number in the middle. So if I go here 300 steps, and if I go from here to here 300 steps, so 300th and 301st will be my median. So if I go from left to right 300 steps, I'll be ending up in the 1 group, because 260 plus 40, it's 300. And if I come from here 300 steps, I end up here with 1. So 1 plus 1 divided by 2 will give me the median. So it's gonna be 1. So median The number in the middle is 1. Question number 20. Based on the survey data, which of the following most accurately compares the expected total number of students with 4 siblings at the 2 schools? A. The total number of students with 4 siblings is expected to be equal at the 2 schools. This is incorrect because the population of the school, Lincoln School, is 2,400 and the population of Washington School is 3,300. Yes, 10 students have 4 siblings in both schools. This means 10 students out of 300 is expected to have 4 siblings. So 10 students out of 300 is expected to have 4 siblings times the general population. So we can estimate the general population who has 4 siblings in Lincoln School. And likewise, 10 out of 300 times the general population of the school will give us the total number of students who are expected to have 4 siblings. Since these numbers are not the same, we're not going to obtain the same numbers. So this is incorrect. The total number of students with 4 siblings at Lincoln School is expected to be 30 more than the Washington School. This time we actually have to calculate what that number is. So 10 out of 300 times the population of the Lincoln School. So we know that 80 people are expected to have 4 siblings in that school. And again, 10 out of 300 times the general population of the school. So 110 people or students are expected to have 4 siblings. Now we can interpret the numbers. It says the total number of the students with 4 siblings at Lincoln School is expected to be 30 more than the other school. No, 80 is not 30 more than 110, so this is incorrect. However, the opposite is correct, because 110 is 30 more than 80. So this is describing here. And the last question is the total number of students with, and the last choice, the total number of students with 4 siblings at Washington School is expected to be 900 more. No, this is totally incorrect. C is correct answer. Question number 21. A project manager estimates a project will take X hours to complete, where X is greater than 100. The goal is for the estimate to be within 10 hours. Within is the key word. 10 hours of the time it will actually take to complete the project. If the manager meets the goal and it takes Y hours to complete the project, which of the following inequalities represents the relationship between the estimated time and the actual completion time? So since it is within, we have to use this less than and less than sign. Within 10 hours, positive 10 and negative 10. So you can approach the actual completing time either from the left, like 10 hours less or 10 hours more. So within means this. And here we're going to use Y is the actual hours to complete and X is the estimated hours. So here actual hours to complete minus estimated hours to complete within 10 hours. So this is our formulation. This can be expressed as like Y minus X in absolute value less than 10. So this and that is the same. So our answer will be D. Question number 22. At a large distance R from a radio antenna, the intensity of the radio signal I is related to the power of the signal P by the formula above. Which of the following expresses the square of the distance from the radio antenna in terms of the intensity of the radio signal and the power of the signal? So since we are looking for the square of the distance, which is r squared, so we're going to solve for r squared in this equation. So I equals to P over 4 pi r squared. So if we multiply the whole equation by 4 pi r squared, we're going to obtain I times. So if we multiply the whole equation by r squared, we're going to obtain I times r squared equals to P over 4 pi. And now if we divide both sides by I, we're going to obtain r squared is equal to P over 4 pi I. Here you can do keep change flip, or since we divided it, you can put it here. So this is the answer. It's going to be B. For the same signal emitted by the antenna observer, A measures its intensity to be 16 times the intensity measured by observer B. The distance of observer A from the radio antenna is what fraction of the distance of observer B from the radio antenna? So we have observer A with the same function, IA r squared A, the observer A, is equal to 16 times r squared B. We obtained the function already in terms of r squared. Question number 23. For the same signal emitted by a radio antenna, observer A measures its intensity to be 16 times the intensity measured by observer B. The distance of observer A from the radio antenna is what fraction of the distance of observer B from the radio antenna? So we're going to express observer A in terms of observer B. We know that our intensity function is I, P over 4 pi r squared equals to, we're going to use the same function for two different observers, observer A and observer B. And we're going to express observer A in terms of observer B. Here, if you can cancel out the constant here, P over 4 pi, exactly the same. So we're going to obtain r squared A equals to r squared B. But here we know that this is 16 times greater than it is given here. Observer A measures its intensity to be 16 times the intensity measured by the observer B. Now, if you square root both sides, you're going to obtain RA is equal to 4 times RB. Now we can express A. Now we know that A is 4 times B, which means A is 1/4 of RB. So RB is 1/4 of RA. So A is the answer. Question number 23. For the same signal emitted by a radio antenna, observer A measures its intensity to be 16 times the intensity measured by observer B. The distance of observer A from the radio antenna is what fraction of the distance of observer B from the radio antenna. We know that intensity function is P over 4 pi r squared given. So let's write that down. P 4 pi r squared, and we're going to compare this function with 4 pi r squared. One of them is observer A, one of them is observer B, and we were given that observer A is 16 times intensity of observer B. So 16 times the function of the observer B. Now we're going to express in terms of B to be able to find the distance of observer B from the radio antenna. Here we can cancel out exactly the same parts of the function. P over 4 pi cancels. So we're going to obtain RA squared equals to 16 times RB squared. You can take denominator to the numerator likewise here, so you don't change anything in the equation. Now we can take the square root of both sides. Then we're going to have RA equals to 4RB. Since we're going to express RB in terms of A, divide both sides on 4, so RB is equal to 1/4 of RA. So 1/4 is the answer. So we know that RA is 4 times less than RB, or RB is 4 times greater intensity than RA. Question number 24. Question number 24. The equation of a circle in the xy plane is shown above. What's the radius of the circle? For this, we need to know the equation of the circle. Equation of the circle is x minus h, the quantity squared, plus y minus k, the quantity squared, equals to r squared. So we need to make this equation look like this equation. For this, we're going to complete the square. X squared plus, we're going to combine the x terms in one place, plus, and we're going to accumulate y terms here, y squared minus 2y equals to -1. Now we're going to complete the square. How are we going to do that? Take the half of the middle term and then square it. So half of 4 is 2, 2 squared is 4. But you need to add the same term on the right hand side. Now we're going to complete the square here. Half of 2 is 1, and 1 squared is still 1, but you need to add it on the right hand side as well. Now we obtain perfect square trinomial here. Now we need to factor this out. Our template is this. And on the right hand side, we obtain -1 cancels +1, 4. You don't need to know how to factor out perfect square trinomial for this question, because only we need radius, which is this. Radius is given as r squared is given as 4, so r is 2, square root of 4 is 2. So A is the answer. But I would like to show how we factor out perfect square trinomials, because you might need it in the other question. So you take the square root of the first term, and you take the square root of the third term, and you take whatever the sign is here. Likewise, square root of the first term, square root of the last term, and then whatever the first sign you see here. And here, 2 minus 1 is the center of the circle, which is our h, k. Okay, let's go to the next question. Here actually we're going to take it opposite. it's going to be negative 1 plus 1. Because when you plug in the formula x minus h, so it will be negative 2. So it will be negative negative 2 to obtain x plus 2. And here y minus positive 1 will give us. So whatever you get here, take the opposite as the center. Number 25. The graph of a linear function f has intercepts at a, 0 and 0, b in the xy plane. If a plus b equals to 0 and a is not equal to b, which of the following is true about the slope of the graph of f? So let's apply the slope formula because we have 2 points already here. So let's apply delta y over delta x. So b minus 0, which is y2 minus y1, over x2 minus x1, 0 minus a. So here we're going to obtain b over negative a. So here we see that slope is negative b over a. We were given information a plus b is equal to 0. So now we're going to solve for either a or b and plug in slope. So a plus b equals to 0. Then b equals to negative a. Or a equals to negative b. Either is okay. Okay, let's use a equals to negative b. Then plug it in here. Negative in the formula here. B over, instead of a, we're going to write negative b. And negative b over negative b is actually 1. Positive 1. So the slope is positive. Let's go to the other question. Question number 26. The complete graph of the function f is shown in the xy plane above. Which of the following are equal to 1? So we're going to y-axis and we're going to find 1. So which ones are 1? This, which is f of, so this is 0, negative 1, negative 2. So f of negative 2. Oh, okay, 1 is here. Question number 26. The complete graph of the function f is shown in the xy plane above. Which of the following are equal to 1? So our 1 is here, and on the y-axis we're going to find, so this is equal to 1, which is f of 0 is here, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. So f of negative 4 is equal to 1, and f of 1 is equal to 1. And from 1 to all the way to everything is equal to f of 1. So f of 2 and in between everything is equal to 1. That's it. So f of 4, f of negative 4, f of 1, f of 2, and anything between f of 1 and f of 2 is also equal to 1, as you can see here the line. So let's check that out. F of negative 4 is equal to 1, that's correct. And this is actually f of 3. Question number 26. The complete graph of the function f is shown in the xy plane above. Which of the following are equal to 1? On the y-axis, 1 is here. And the graph equals to 1 is this point, which is 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. So f of negative 4 is equal to 1. F of 1 is equal to 1. So this is f of 2. F of 2 is equal to 1. Anything in between is also equal to 1 because there is a continuous line here. F of 3 is equal to 1. And anything in between is also equal to 1. That's it. Now let's check. F of negative 4 is equal to 1, that's correct. F of 3 over 2 is 1.5, and 1.5 falls in here, so it's still equal to 1. F of 1.5 is on the line, so it also equals to 1. and f of 3 is also equal to 1. So all of them. Question number 27. Two samples of water equal mass are heated to 60 degrees Celsius. One sample is poured into an insulated container and the other sample poured into a non-insulated container. The samples are then left for 70 minutes to cool in a room having a temperature of 25 Celsius. The graph above shows the temperature of each sample at 10-minute intervals. Which of the following statements correctly compares the average rate at which the temperatures of the two samples change? Since we are going to compare their average rates, which means we are going to compare their slopes, you can connect the dots and make their slopes actually. And for the non-insulated, so if you make a straight line between 2 points, you can easily compare the slopes. Now let's read the options. In every 10-minute interval, the magnitude of the rate of change of temperature of the insulated sample is greater than that of the non-insulated sample. So we're going to check. Actually, it is incorrect because this line is sharper than that line, which means this slope is bigger in magnitude than that slope. So number A is automatically eliminated, even if you check the first interval. B. In every 10-minute interval, the magnitude of the rate of change of temperature of the non-insulated sample is greater than of the insulated sample. This time it says the opposite. It says non-insulated has greater magnitude than the insulated. Not all of the intervals. Here, yes. Here, maybe yes. But in the horizontal line here, this magnitude of change is greater. Blue line is greater than orange line. So this is opposing the idea. So B is not correct either. Let's go to C. In the intervals from 0 to 10 minutes and from 10 to 20 minutes, the rate of change of temperature of the insulated sample are of greater magnitude, whereas the intervals from 40 to 50 minutes and from 50 to 60 minutes, the rate of change of the temperature of the non-insulated sample are of greater magnitude. So it technically says from 0 to 10 and 10 to 20, insulated has greater slope, and from 40 to 50 and 50 to 60, this time non-insulated has greater magnitude. Let's check if it is correct. From 0 to 10 and 10 to 20, it says insulated has greater magnitude. No, it does not, because even in the first interval, non-insulated has greater magnitude because this line is sharper. You can either go like 2 points and calculate like y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or you can just compare the sharpness of the line, which is more practical. So C is not correct either. The intervals from 0 to 10 minutes and from 10 to 20 minutes, the rates of change of temperature of the non-insulated sample are of greater magnitude. Let's see. From 0 to 10 and 10 to 20, non-insulated, which means orange, has greater magnitude. That's correct. This is sharper line, this is sharper line than blue line. So first part of the answer is correct. In the second part it says whereas the intervals from 40 to 50 and 50 to 60, this time insulated has greater slope than non-insulated. Let's see if it is correct. Yes, because this is almost horizontal line which has zero slope. This is same, but this has greater and that has greater magnitude in blue. So D is totally, completely correct. Question number 28. In the xy plane above, ABCD is a square and point E is the center of the square. The coordinates of the points C and E are 7.2 and 1, 0. respectively. Which of the following is an equation of the line that passes through point B and D? So we're looking for the equation of the line that passes through point A and point D. So we're going to find the equation of this line. Number 28. In the xy plane above, ABCD is a square and point E is the center of the square. The coordinates of the points C and E are 7, 2 and 1, 0, respectively. Which of the following is an equation of the line that passes through points B and D? So we're going to find the equation of the line that passes through B and D, which is this line that you can draw, sketch. We know that this is a square and this is the diagonal of the square, and diagonals of the square intersect each other at 90 degrees, which means they are perpendicular to each other. If I know the equation of A to C, if I know the slope of A to C, I can make up the slope of BD, because perpendicular lines have negative reciprocal slopes. Negative reciprocal slopes. We will see what it does mean. Okay, now let's try to find the equation of A to C. So we can find the slope first. The slope is, we use delta y over delta x. So 0 minus 2, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So this is going to be negative 2 over negative 6, which is going to be positive 1/3. If the slope of the line is 1/3, the negative reciprocal of this 1/3 is you negate it, which means multiply by negative 1, and then flip the fraction, 3 over 1, which is negative 3. So the slope of the other line will be negative 3. So this and that is eliminated because they are not negative 3 slopes. This is negative 3 slope, this is negative 3 slope. Now let's go to y-intercept. So y-intercept is here, as you can see, positive, because it's intersecting somewhere at positive here. So negative 3x minus 1, this is negative y-intercept, but this is positive y-intercept because negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. So B is the answer. In the system of equations above, A and B are constants. For which of the values? Number 29. In the system of equations above, A and B are constants. For which of the following values of A and B does the system of equations have exactly 2 real solutions? So let's convert this into quadratic equation and then see what 2 real solutions mean. We know that y is given as 3, so we substitute y as 3. 3 equals to ax squared plus b. Let's merge everything and set it equal to 0. So this is going to be our standard form of plus b minus 3 equals to 0. So this is the standard form of the quadratic function. Now we're going to solve for x squared, because x is the x-intercept of the quadratic function. So here ax squared is equal to, subtract b, add 3, it's going to be 3 minus b if you take them to the other side, and then divide by a. So x squared is equal to 3 minus b over a, and then take the square root of x. So x is equal to plus or minus square root of 3 minus b over a. So this is our 2 roots. So what does 2 real roots means? If inside of the radical, if we obtain positive number, then we have 2 real solutions. If we obtain here negative number, then we have 2 imaginary solutions. If we have here 0, then we have only one solution. So our aim is to obtain positive number here, because we need to obtain exactly 2 real solutions. Let's try a and b values now. If a is negative 2, let me use different color. If a is negative 2 and if b is positive 2, what do we obtain? 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 divided by negative 2 is negative number. So that's eliminated. If a is negative 2 and if b is 4, 3 minus 4 is negative 1. Negative 1 divided by negative 2 is positive 1/2. So that's the answer, because we obtained positive value here. C and D you don't need to try because you already got the answer. Question number 30. The figure above shows a regular hexagon with sides of length A and a square with sides of length A. So we have sides A here and we have sides A of regular hexagon. If the area of the hexagon is 384 root 3 square inches, what is the area in square inches of the square? So our aim is to find the area of the square. So we need to solve for A, and then A times A will give us the area of the square. Since this is regular hexagon, we can slice it into 6 equilateral triangle, which has, let me slice it correctly. So from the vertices, now we have 6 equilateral triangles, which means they all have the same side, which is all of them are A, everything is A, and all has the 60 degrees everywhere. So all the angles are 60 degrees. Okay, now we can find the area of one equilateral triangle. If I divide 384 root 3 by 6, I find the area of one single triangle here. Let's say this orange triangle. Okay, 384 divided by 6 is 64 root 3. Okay, so the area of this orange triangle is 64 root 3. If we make an altitude from this triangle, this is 90 degrees. We knew that each corners were 60 degrees, and this altitude is the angle bisector, so this is 30 degrees, this is 30 degrees. Now we obtain 30-60-90 special right triangle. And we know that in the 30-60-90 special right triangle, across the 30 degree is x amount. If this is x amount, across the 90 degree is 2x amount, and across the 60 degree is x times root 3 amount. So we know that here this is A, each sides are A amount, and it is just across the 90 degree. So just across the 90 degree is A amount here. So across the 30 degree will be half of A amount, and across the 60 degree will be A over 2 times root 3 amount. Now we know the dimensions. Now we can use the area formula of triangle. So what is the area of triangle? Base times height, 1/2 base times height. Okay. We know that area of one single triangle is 64 root 3. And 1/2 times base. Base is this total area. Base is A, because each sides are A. And A divided by 2 is A over 2. That's the base of this triangle. And height of this triangle is, we found here, A root 3 over 2. A root 3 over 2. So here, if you multiply base times height and set it equal to area, and then you can solve for A. Let's do that. So here we're going to obtain a squared root 3 over 4 is equal to 64 root 3. And then here, if we divide both sides on 4, so here we can multiply both sides by 4. So we get rid of this. 4 times 64 is 256. And if we divide both sides on root 3, we get rid of this. So a squared is automatically 256. So you can either solve for a and then square it, or you can directly solve for a squared, which is going to give you the area of the square. So the answer is A. Question number 31. Now free response part. A coastal geologist estimates that a certain country's beaches are eroding at a rate of 1.5 feet per year. According to the geologist's estimate, how long will it take in years for the country's beaches to erode by 21 feet? So if you divide 21 by 1.5 feet, because you know that every year it is going 1.5 feet. And for 21 feet, how many years do you need? 21 divided by 1.5 feet, which is 14 years. You're going to answer choices and you're going to write here 14 and you're going to bubble in correctly 1 and then 4. Okay, number 32. If 8 hours and 30 minutes is equal to 450 minutes, so 8 hours plus 30 minutes is equal to 450 minutes. What's the value of h? Now we need to convert everything into minute and solve for h. We know that 1 hour is 60 minutes, so we can write h as 60h. Because if I multiply h by 60, it will be expressed in minutes. Equals to, and subtract 30 on both sides. 450 minus 30 is 420. Now divide both sides by 60. So h will be the number. So you're going to obtain 7 hours. And you're going to go to your free response sheet and then write 7 and bubble in 7 correctly. Number 33. In the xy plane, the point 3, 6 lies on the graph of the function given. What's the value of b? If this point satisfies this equation, then you can plug in this point. So this is going to be your y, which is f of x. And this is going to be your x. So 6 equals to 3 times 3 squared minus b times 3 plus 12. So 6 equals to 3 squared is 9, 9 times 3 is 27, minus 3b, let me make b capital so it's not going to be confused, plus 12. And then subtract 27 and 12 on both sides. You're going to obtain 39. Negative 39 minus 6 is negative 33 is equal to 3b. And then divide both sides on negative 3, so b equals to 11. You're going to your free response sheet and then write 11 and then bubble correctly 11. Question number 34. In one semester, Doug and Laura spent a combined 250 hours. So Doug plus Laura spent a combined 250 hours. If Doug spent 40 more hours in the lab than Laura, then how many hours did Laura spend in the lab? So since Doug spent 40 more hours in lab than Laura, then Laura plus 40 hours is equal to Doug, because Doug spent 40 more hours. To balance this equation, I need to put 40 more hours onto Laura's side. Now I have two equations. Now I can solve the system. Since we are solving for L, let's directly plug in D. This is equal to D into the first equation. So L plus 4D plus L equals to 250. And 4D plus 2L equals to 250. Subtract 40 on both sides. So 2L equals to 210. Divide by 2, so L equals to 105. You're going to write 105 on free response sheet and then bubble in correctly. Okay, question number 35. Jane made an initial deposit to a saving account. Each week thereafter, she deposited a fixed amount to the account. The equation above models the amount A in dollars that Jane has deposited after T weekly deposits. According to the model, how many dollars was Jane's initial deposit? Okay, this is y equals to mx plus b. 18 is the slope, so we see that she puts $18 every week. And this is her initial money there. So you need to identify this equation. So the answer is 15. Because we are looking for the initial deposit. So you're going to write 15. You're going to ignore the dollar sign and then 1, 5. Okay, let's go to question number 36. In the figure above, point O is the center of the circle. Line segments LM and MN are tangent to the circle at points L and N. So if they are tangent, then they are equal and they are 90 degree because tangents are 90 degree to the circle. And the segments intersect at point M shown as shown. If the circumference of the circle is 96, so circumference is given as 96, what's the length of the minor arc ln? So this is ln, and this is the minor arc, and this is the major arc. So we're going to find this minor arc. Here we can find the central angle inside. This angle is 360 minus 90 minus 90 minus 60, because sum of those four angles have to be equal to 360 in any quadrilateral. So 360 minus 90, 90, 60. 90 plus 90 is 180, plus 60 is 240. So we're going to subtract this. So we find 120. So we see that this minor arc's central angle is 120. So what is the rest of the angle? We know that central angle in a circle is 360. And 360 minus 120 is 240. So the rest of the angle is 240. As you can see here, the ratio is question number 36. In the figure above, point O is the center of the circle. Line segments LM and MN are the tangent to the circle at points L and N respectively. So if these lines are tangent, it means they are equal and they are 90 degree to the circle. And the segments intersect at point M as shown. If the circumference of the circle is 96, circumference is given as 96, what's the length of the minor arc ln? So this is our minor arc ln, and this is the major arc ln. Okay, we have 90 degree here, 90 degree here, 60 degree here. So the rest is 360 minus sum of all angles. So 360 minus 90 plus 90 plus 60 will give us 120, because all of them are 240 and 360 minus 240 is 120. So this angle is 120, because in a quadrilateral sum of all four angles are 360. Now we know that central angle is 360 as well, and we know that this minor arc's angle is 120 out of 360, which means this is just 1/3 of the angle. So we're going to do same ratio for the circumference. Circumference is given as 96. Now we know the central angle here. So central angle times the circumference will give us the arc length here. So arc length is equal to central angle times the circumference. We were given the circumference as 96. Central angle is 120 over 360. Now we know the central angle here, which is 120. So we can find the arc length that belongs to this angle. So arc length is equal to central angle over 360 in degree times circumference. If it was in radian, then it would be central angle given in radian over 2 pi times circumference. So this is the arc length formula in radian, and this is in degree, so we're going to use the formula above. So central angle is 120 over 360. We know that circumference is given times 96. This is 1/3, and 96 divided by 3 is the answer. So 96 divided by 3 will be the answer. Then it's going to be 32. Then you're going to write here 32 and then bubble in correctly. Okay, let's go to question number 37. Question number 37. A botanist is cultivating a rare species of a plant in a controlled environment and currently has 3,000 of these plants. The population of these species that the botanist expects to grow next year and next year can be estimated from the number of plants this year and this year by the equation below. The constant K in this formula is the number of plants the environment is able to support. According to formula, the formula given here, what will be the number of plants 2 years from now if K is 4,000? Round your answer to the nearest whole number. We were given the function and they would like to know what's gonna be the population of the species 2 years from now. So we need to apply this function 2 times because we are here and now, next year, and 2 years from now. Okay, and next year, let's call it N next. And this year, we were given that we have 3,000 plants plus 0.2 times this year, again 3,000 plants, times 1 minus this year, which is 3,000, and K constant is given as 4,000 in the question. Now all we have to do is just to punch the calculator and get the number for N next year, and we're gonna apply this formula again for the 2 years from now. Let's find this number first. So we're going to apply 0.2 times First, let's calculate in the parentheses whatever we have in the end. 3000 divided by 4000 is 0.75, and 1 minus 0.75 is 0.25. So we have here 0.25. So here we have 0.25. And 0.25 times 3000 times 0.2. So 0.25 times 3000 times 0.02. So we have 150. And we have plus 3000. So we have 3150. So this function gives us 3150. Now this is our plants, the number of plants we have next year. Now we need to know one more time. And second time will be, this time we have 3150 plants plus 0.2 times current times 1 minus current 3150 divided by 4000 again, because we know that k constant is 4000 for this specific question. Again, we can go to calculator and start from the last part. 3150 divided by 4000, subtracted from 1 minus 1, so this is positive number, so 2125 times 3150 times 0.2. This number is positive. Now we're going to add this number to our initial plants. That's a positive number, 133.875 plus 3150, which is our initial, so 3283.8. So if you round up the nearest whole number, 3284. So 3284. So this is our answer. Now you're going to go to your 3284, and you're gonna bubble it correctly, and you're good for this question. Now let's go to the last question. Number 38. The botanist would like to increase the number of plants that the environment can support so that the population of the species will increase more rapidly. If the botanist's goal is that the number of plants will increase from 3000 this year to 3360 next year, how many plants must be modified environment support? This time we're going to solve for k. Let's open up space here for the last question. And plug in the numbers. So we have 3360 next year and next, and this year we have 3000 plants, and we know the function is plus 0.2 times n this year, which is again 3000, times 1 minus n this year, which is 3000, divided by k. So we can find the modified environment support, which is k number. So here we are going to solve for k in this question. You can clean up the equation wherever you want to start from. I would like to subtract 3000 first. If we subtract 3000 on both sides, you get 360 is equal to, and I would like to multiply this already, 0.2 times 3000, 0.2 times 3000 is 600. Okay, so this number is 600 times, we have 1 minus 3000 over k. Now I would like to distribute 600 into parentheses. 360 is equal to 600 times 1 is 600, minus 600 times 3000 is 18, and we have 5 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over k. Now I would like to subtract 600 on both sides again. So 360 minus 600, 360 minus 600, negative 240. Okay, we have negative 240 here, equals to negative 1,800,000, yeah, over k. Here we're gonna be solving for k, so if we cross multiply, it's gonna be negative 240k, and if you divide both sides by negative 240, you find k. So k will be equal to negative 1,800,000 divided by negative 240. We're going to obtain a positive number. Let's see. Negative 1,800,000 divided by 240 will be 7,500. So 7,500 is the answer. That's the k number. So we're gonna go to bubble in part and then carefully bubble it in. Okay, that's the end of section 4 of test 2. See you at the next test. Thank you for watching.